Hi there, welcome. Thanks for joining Organic Markets for the Spring 2022 webinar. Marla Carlson, the Executive Director of Sask Organics, is usually in this spot and moderates these webinars but she's away on holiday, so I'm filling in her absence. My name is Will Odie, and I'm a director on the board of Sask Organics, and I'll be moderating today's session. I am speaking to you today from just outside Regina, Saskatchewan, Canada, situated on Treaty 4 lands, the traditional territory of the Nehiyeewak, Anishinaabe, Dakota, Lakota, Nakota, and the homeland of the Métis nations. Little housekeeping stuff here. You might make it easier on your system, and I'm got my own issues with internet sometimes. It improves quality in audio if you turn off things that you're not using in the background. You are in listen-only mode, those of you who are attending, and you can ask questions by on the right-hand panel, and we will address those questions with the speakers. And if you're joining by phone, you will have been prompted to enter an audio PIN number. If you didn't enter your PIN, be sure your phone is muted at all times. There will be several minutes after each presenter in which we can ask questions to the presenter. We'll do our best to answer them as many as we can in the allotted time. The webinar is scheduled for a little under 2 hours, but we'll see how it goes depending on the presentations and the questions. If you can't make it to the end today, you can always watch the recording later. Attendees will receive an email with a link to the webinar within a day or so of the live webinar. And there are also included in that email handouts available, which are provided by some of the sponsors. And hopefully you will be forgiving if there are technical glitches in the webinar. We hope that this weather doesn't affect any of us or any other issues that commonly occur with internet failures and power failures and stuff. So we'll do our best to make it run as smoothly as possible. So we thank you to our sponsors here, our gold sponsors. Firstly, grain millers, Manitoba Harvest, Sunrise Foods International, Richardson International Organics, Avena Foods, Bioriginal, and MGM Seed and Grain. Thank you also to our silver sponsors, PHS Organics, Scoular, and CanMar Foods. And thank you to our bronze sponsor, Growers International, Organic Sales Incorporated. And we gratefully acknowledge the funding support of the Canadian Agricultural Partnership, Prairie Organic Development Fund, and the Government of Canada. Marketing continues to be high on the list of our members' list of topics. So Sask Organics has been holding these marketing webinars now for 2 years. This is the second anniversary. In 2020, they pivoted to when COVID first came on to do this event, and they've been well received. A big thank you to the companies that have sponsored this webinar and that are joining us today. Each company representative will speak for approximately 5 minutes. If you have any questions, please type them into the questions box. We will share as many questions as we have time for at the end of each presentation. And with that, we'll jump right into the forum and the first presenter, which is Dwayne Lee from Growers International. Thanks, Dwayne.
Thanks, Will. Well, good morning, everyone. Greetings from wintry Winnipeg this morning. I guess we'll just get started here. Maybe just a quick little bit of background about Growers International. We've been around for about 35 years. We've got 3 elevators in Saskatchewan, and one's located in Lang, Herbert, and Indian Head. We typically purchase wheat, durum, barley, flax, peas, on occasion oats, rye, and other crops as well. So in terms of our current crops and things that we're looking for, I guess right now, I mean, we're bidding $24 delivered for 12.5 Pro spring wheat delivered our facilities. $24 for number 2 yellow peas as well. New crop, we're got production contracts out there for $21 delivered for 12.5 Pros 2 CWRS, and also $21 for number 2 yellow peas. We are our general prices right now. In terms of market expectations or predictions, I guess it's obviously very early in the growing season. Lots going on in the world. Mostly about the weather. Hard to predict exactly what's going to happen here, but I mean, new crop indications are showing a little bit of an inverse at the moment. We'll see if how that develops going forward. If old crop comes down to new crop prices, or vice versa. But today it feels like things are maybe a little bit. Everyone's expecting a bigger crop in the coming years. So we'll see what happens, I guess. But for now, it's data time, I guess. So short and sweet to open it up. I mean, I guess if you've got questions, fire away, and I'll take my best crack at them.
I don't see any questions at the moment. Deb, am I missing anything?
No, there haven't been any come in yet. Sometimes
Okay.
it takes a few minutes, people to warm up a little bit. So.
And if they're as fast at typing as me, it's going to take several minutes, yes. So are you able to stay home, Dwayne, and wait out the weather?
Yeah, I am actually. It's I don't know. It's interesting to see all the empty grocery shelves and stuff in Winnipeg right now. Everyone's preparing for the worst, so we'll see.
It's unusual that there's such advance notice and I guess there's been a recognition of storms like this before, of course, but everybody being prepared until the do 70 hours, 72 hours worth of 3 days worth of emergency preparations.
Yeah, no, exactly. So,
well, I guess seeing no questions, we'll say thank you, Dwayne, for your presentation, and we'll move to the next presenter. Thank you, Dwayne.
Thank you.
Next on the forum is Kanmar Grains, and here to tell you more about them is Ryan Nielsen. Ryan, over to you.
Thank you very much. First off, to Sask Organics for hosting another a call today. Definitely here in Regina with some of the weather that may be coming our way, but potentially some moisture coming, and we're a farm and food company, so we farm some acres ourselves. Our farm location is where we've got certified organic land is near Lemberg and near Lang. So looking forward to a little bit more moisture here before seeding season starts. So crops that we typically purchase here at CanMar Foods: organic brown flax, organic yellow flax, and organic hemp. We're currently contracting old crop and new crop organic flax. And what types of contracts do we currently have available? So we're a small company. We're very flexible on our contracts. We'll do fixed price contracts. We'll do full or partial production. We'll do spot contracts. Act to God on all of our contracts for new crop. And we are a bonded company, and payment turnaround times are very short. We're a company that focuses on, working with our growers and having a relationship where we want, the grower to be happy for this year and for years to come, for sure. So, what are our current contract terms and movement for new crop? We are October and November movement on brown and gold flax. Some price indications, I can give you new crop, what we're currently contracting at. New crop organic brown, we are $55 picked up. Gold, we are $61 a bushel picked up on new crop. We are still currently seeking some old crop organic yellow, and depending on quality there, we are seeing stuff in the $75 to $85 a bushel range. Yeah, expectations and predictions for markets in 2022. Seems like there's lots up in the air right now between, weather pressures, uncertainty of crop and in other areas. You read every day or hear every day about, the uncertainty of the Ukraine crop, the Black Sea ports, and some of the challenges there. So as a farmer ourselves, I mean, we're wondering, how much do we contract and how much do we forward price? And then markets, especially in specialty crops, can be very can fluctuate significantly. So I would say if you want to talk about new crop opportunities and just hear about our flexibility, please reach out to us. We'd be happy to chat. So, any questions for myself?
Quiet audience today.
Quiet group first thing this morning.
Quiet group, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, once again, thanks to attendees and thanks to Sask Organics, and all the best luck to producers for seeding 2022. Thank you.
Ryan, sorry to interrupt you here. We did have one question come in finally.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. The question is, do you do your own cleaning of flax?
Yes. So we do have cleaning and color sorting at the plant here in Regina. Some producers will do a first run clean at another cleaner, but definitely that option is where we can take delivery direct at Regina, and we do everything here from cleaning to roasting, heat treating, and then packaging and shipping right from our Regina location.
So you would deal with screenings, I guess, after the fact, depending on how bad the sample was.
Yeah, absolutely. Any other questions out there?
All righty. Well, thank you, Ryan. Much appreciated. All righty. Next up, we have Bioriginal, and here to talk about what their company is offering is Derek McDonald. Welcome, Derek.
Hi, folks. Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you, yep.
Perfect. Hello, welcome. Thank you for having us. My name, just a quick little introduction. My name is Derek McDonald. I've been with Bioriginal for, I want to say, close to 15 years. Our company's been around for well over 25 years. I think we were established in '94, and we've grown quite a bit since then. We've got offices in Anaheim, California, as well as Den Bommel, the Netherlands, where we service our Asian and European customers. And we were just, I want to say a couple of years back, we were just recently purchased by the Cook group of companies, and the Cook Aquacultures is based out of, their Canadian company based out of Black Harbor, New Brunswick, and they are a large producer of farmed and wild Alaskan salmon, you name it, pollock, shrimp, sea bass, cod, crab, all that kind of stuff. And so, yeah, that's just a little background on Bioriginal. Bioriginal has been actively involved in the organic growing since we started in '94. Processing and marketing organic products, and committed to growing just that organic business overall. It's always been a big part of Bioriginal's business, and we're continuing to see it grow now to this day. So, moving on to the crops we typically purchase. We typically purchase large amounts of organic and conventional flax. In the past, we've done organic hemp seed, not so much now like we used to. And then we're a large producer of borage as well, conventional borage oil. We don't currently have any specialty or any niche type crops. We do experiment from time to time, year over year, but it's not something that we're currently or actively into at the moment. What are our current crop needs? Well, as it stands today, we're always looking for organic flax. We're always on the hunt. Conventional flax as well, although as of late it seems to be a little more readily available. And then we also look to contract. We look to contract for our borage seeds as well. So that's also those are kind of the three main staples that we look to grow in the prairie provinces. The question around what types of contracts do you currently have available, and is there any spawn contracts? Well, we took a long hard look at our contracts kind of these last couple of months, just to see what it looked like over the years, what's worked well, what hasn't worked so well, and then took the time to speak with a lot of farmers and growers in the area, people that we've dealt with for many years, and just got their feedback on what growers are looking for in a contract, what they don't like, what concerns them, that kind of stuff. And the outcome of that was that there would be, I feel like we truly have a really good hybrid approach to things, where there's something in there for everyone. Everything from, the act of God clauses on our organics to working with the farmers on planting seed. Yeah, you name it. There's we've added something for everyone. Premium prices per acre. We've done guaranteed minimums. What else can I think of? Dockage, flexible payments, and things like that. We've really went out of our way to structure the contract so that it's a win-win for both sides, because there's no benefit to anyone if one's winning and one's losing, right? So, and then I think the other big part too on it is that because just the price fluctuations and everything that we're seeing in the market right now, we've kind of gone away from guaranteed locked-in price so much as more so that first right of refusal and just option to buy, things like that. That way the farmer can be happy with the price that they get, and Bioriginal can be happy with the price that we pay. So our typical contract terms and movements, the moment that the crops come off the field, we're not a huge corporation where we can't take seed as it comes. For the most part, I would say that the moment that the crops come off the fields, we take possession almost immediately. And quite honestly, the only thing that would hinder that or maybe slow that up would be bin space at our elevator and at our facility here. So, and if that's the case, we work diligently with the growers to make sure that we get their seed in, or make sure that arrangements have been made for them to get paid. Current price indications for the crops we purchase will be within the market. And right now the market, I want to say for conventional or for organic flax, I want to say is anywhere from $80 to $90 per bushel, I think is what we're seeing. Conventional is upwards in that $40 mark, $40 to $50 mark. And on the 2022 planting contracts, we're seeing a little bit of everything. I think Dwayne had kind of mentioned that it's that $55 to $60 a bushel for the 2022 crops, the organic flax coming off the fields, and that's right around where everybody's at. And I don't quite know what will happen with that in the future. It's in speaking with the markets and the predictions for the upcoming year. The war in Ukraine has kind of just thrown a wrench into everything. The global demand on the wheat and the canola is really messing with everything. What I hope in the whole kind of scheme of things is that we don't lose any more organic growers. I know in the past we've seen organic growers gravitate more towards the conventional side, especially when we've seen the conventional prices for canola and wheat where they're at today. So that's the only thing that I think is really troublesome or worrisome for me. The other thing too is that whatever Mother Nature brings us, that'll really determine what the prices are going to do come harvest. Is if we see the rain and the moisture that we need in a lot of the areas, then I think the crops will be good, and I think the prices will stay constant. But if we have another rough year like we did last year, it will be rough, I think, for everyone. So everyone on this call and in our business will be affected. So that's it from me. Any questions?
Excuse me. Somebody had asked about the new pricing for brown and yellow flax, and I think you mentioned probably the pricing you gave was on brown flax, probably in the 55 to plus range. You didn't mention specifically yellow flax.
Sorry, no, I apologize. We unlike CanMar, we do not deal in the yellow flax. Ours is organic brown flax.
Do you buy yellow flax as well? And is the pricing?
Sorry, Will, you're cutting in and out, but I think I got your question, and the answer is no. We at Bioriginal, years and years ago, we used to do some yellow flax products, but in today's day, it's only the organic brown.
Okay. Okay. There's a comment here that said, way to keep organic growers is to increase prices. Okay, next one is, do you prefer to purchase specific varieties of flax, yellow or brown? And is the purchase all based on quality?
Good question. I think so. In the past, we've had preferential varieties for us because, and the reason for that is in our processing, the end customer, depending on whether it's an oil or a milled product or something like that, we found the varieties had an impact on those products. What we're finding, so fast forward last year to this year, variety is no longer relevant. We're buying anything that we can get our hands on that's good quality, that is that it's out there in the market today. What we've decided at Bioriginal is to take a different approach where we will work with growers. We will take on supply from all over, and then determine the best end use at our facility here once it's cleaned and ready for processing. So I hope that answers the question.
All right, thank you. Is there any other questions? Deb, I had actually a personal email come through from somebody I know who said they wondered how they might find the place to post the questions on. And since I don't probably have what is looking like a regular screen now as a co-host, perhaps you can answer that question for them.
Yeah, I think it should just be a question mark icon Yeah, again, our screens are a bit different than the attendees screen, but I'm pretty sure it should be a question mark somewhere on the right-hand side.
Okay, well, hopefully that helps. Well, seeing no more questions, I thank you very much for your presentation.
Well, there are a couple more questions here. Sorry to interrupt you.
Oh, sorry. Okay, yeah, alrighty. Yeah, right. It's not a very big screen, that area. What did you say was the what did you say the average price for brown and flax will be? I think you'd said 55 to.
So what it will end up being, I'm not quite sure. But right now contracts, I want to say we're contracting anywhere in that $55 to $60 a bushel range for the organic brown flax for the 2022 crops. That's where it's kind of sitting today, where it's floating. Okay. And then of course, depending on the acres and everything, that changes things.
Last question. This is a flash from my past too. Anything on growing borage? Because Bioriginal actually did borage many years ago.
Correct. Yeah. And Will, you're absolutely right. We do borage to this day. I will say that over the years, we definitely took a little bit of a hiatus from it. In our strongest years, when I first started here, we were doing 10,000 plus acres easily of borage, and we kind of not walked away from it, but just took a little reprieve on it. And it's really coming back. And for Bioriginal in particular, we've got a lot of customers that are looking for that product. There's something about the Canadian grown borage, and it's definitely making a comeback. We're actively looking to contract more acres on the borage year over year, and this year is no different. So if it fits into the crop rotations, and if farmers are interested, please do give us a call. We've built manuals on it. We're happy to work with growers to grow for us, especially on the borage front. Thank you.
Interesting. The time I grew it, it seemed fairly non-competitive until it finally bushed out, and then it was, it really covered the field. And it's one of those things that with the whole advent of intercropping, one wonders if it might be a candidate for intercropping.
Absolutely, and our varieties are a lot different from when you grew over the years. We've made just leaps and bounds on it. Every year it seems like something is new and improved, or something new and unique for it. So it's definitely it can definitely hold its own.
All right. Thank you, Derek.
Thanks, Will. Thanks all.
Appreciate it. All righty. Next up, Richardson International, and Sandy De-Jaegher is here to speak to us today. Thank you for joining us. Sadie.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. As mentioned, my name is Sadie. I am a grain buyer for Richardson Pioneer. I'm actually located near Portage la Prairie, Manitoba, and I'm here today to represent the Richardson milling side of our business. So part of my job as a grain buyer for Pioneer is to buy oats into our Richardson mills. So Richardson Milling is an ingredients-based industrial supplier to many major retail brands. We operate 3 oat mills in Canada, 1 in the United States, and 1 in the UK. And we do all types of products, including whole growth, steel-cut oats, brands, flours, and we offer gluten-free and organic options out of some of our mills. So in particular, for you guys, we run an organic product line out of our mill in Portage la Prairie, Manitoba. Top crops we typically purchase on that end is oats. In terms of old crop, we are currently looking to source for our June and July mill runs. We are currently buying at $18 a bushel into those windows. That is a delivered portage bid. We have the option to set up a farm pickup bid and arrange trucking on our end. If that is something that interests you guys, you can definitely reach out and we can work out a price on what that would look like picked up from farm. So June, July for old crop, and then looking forward, we are purchasing for all delivery months in fall for new crop. We're currently posted at $11 a bushel for delivery September, October, November, or December. And same idea, that's a delivered portage bid, but we're more than happy to work with you guys individually in terms of farm pickup bids. So those are the main points. in terms of price indications going forward, obviously things are a little bit different in my territory maybe than out your way. We are expecting an increase in organic oat acres in terms of rising input costs, make oats an appealing option. And we're getting a bit of moisture out here this winter. Good snow cover so far, and I'm currently sitting in a blizzard, so that's going to definitely make us a bit more optimistic for yields this year. It's hard to say, as many panelists have commented on. It's a very unpredictable world right now, so can't give you a sure and fast number on where prices are going this fall. However, we're still seeing these higher dollar values and potentially expecting things to return to a more traditional level as we get closer to fall. Hoping that we're seeing yields and quality better than what we were able to experience this year. So that's the gist of it. In terms of quality and what we're able to purchase, we've learned this year that we are able to work with quite a variety or quite a large range of quality specs. We do have a list of preferred varieties that we like to work with. It's an extensive list. About 15 varieties are approved, and they've gone through a couple of years of testing at our mills to ensure that we're able to create high quality finished products with them. So if you're interested in any of those specifics or discussing any of those points further, you can absolutely reach out and we can discuss that a little bit more. That was a bit fast, but I think that's what I've got for the gist of it there. I don't know if you guys have any questions for me.
There are a couple so far, yeah. One says, do you have Act of God clause in your new crop contracts?
We do not offer an Act of God clause, which is something that we ran into a little bit this year. We were able to work with producers in other ways, trying to get those contracts covered off. It's not something that we've offered in our conventional side of things, and currently isn't something we offer on the organic side either.
Okay, another question is, when you purchase oats, are you looking for easy milling based on sample, or are you favoring specific varieties?
So a bit of both. Like I said, we do have a fairly extensive list of varieties we are able to accept. We don't rank one of those above the others. So most of the major or very popular varieties we are able to work with, and we don't have preferences within that list. We do buy based on sample. We like to see samples ahead of time and give you a really good idea of kind of what your oats are able to mill and exactly what we can offer you for them. But as long as they're meeting all of our, minimum specs, we have tolerances on most things. And like I said, most samples we're able to work with, even if they fall a little bit outside of that. But the best bet is definitely to have a sample looked at and to go from there.
A follow-up question on the Act of God clause is there any plans to offer that, the Act of God clause in your contracts?
As of right now, there is not. So for this crop here, I don't anticipate we'll see that come on the line. That being said, we did come out of a difficult year where we did run into that, and it's definitely been in discussion. So we can't plan for it for this fall, but not to say it won't come in the future as we grow that program. So.
It says with a particular company dominating the oat market, why aren't the smaller buyers increasing prices to compete?
Okay, so I'm not sure if I guess the only thing I can speak to is our pricing structure. And generally what we see on both I can speak more to the conventional because we've been working with that a little bit longer, but the organics is following the exact same system. We're posted at a bid that makes sense for the sales that we are making on the other end of things. You'll see that bid fluctuate. Sometimes we become more aggressive to cover those sales off, and then as those sales get covered, we'll see either delivery windows close or prices back off a little bit. So that's how we've been setting our pricing structure. And we're taking into account, obviously, competition and what it's going to take to be able to purchase those from growers. So that's always, fluctuating and trying to keep up with the current marketplace.
Another question, do you buy organic spring wheat? And if so, what is the price for spot and new crop?
So at this time, we are currently only working in organics out of our oat milk. So wheat isn't something that we've delved into yet. Obviously, the company is always growing and changing. So not to say it won't come on the line in the future, but as of right now, we're just looking for the oats.
All righty. Well, I think that's the extent of the questions for you, Sadie.
Great. Okay. I would just like to mention there, as I had said, I work out of our location near Portage-la Prairie. But if you have a local Richardson pioneer that you are familiar with, or you'd like to walk into the doors and talk to the grain buyers there, we're all working on the same network. And if you're not sure who that is, you can absolutely contact me at the number and the email listed there, and I can, at the very least, set you up with someone in your area.
All righty.
Great.
Thank you
Will.
very much. Righto. Thanks, Sadie. Next company on the forum is Manitoba Harvest, Fresh Hemp Foods. Clarence Schwaluk is here to tell us more about the hemp markets. Thank you for joining us today, Clarence, from snowy Winnipeg, or snowy LaSalle.
It certainly is snowy, yes. And thanks, Will, and appreciate the opportunity to be able to speak with everyone here this morning. So Manitoba Harvest, we're one of the pioneer hemp food companies in Canada, and one of the global leaders as far as hemp foods. And you'll probably recognize the Manitoba Harvest label. That's the one that we put on the shelf for consumers. And then we also have another division that works on bulk food ingredients, where we sell the same types of hemp products and sell them to other processors. So the company's been in business since 1998. That's when hemp was first legalized here in Canada. And we run two facilities. One is in Winnipeg. That's the original Manitoba Harvest facility. And then the other one is in St. Agathe, Manitoba, just south of Winnipeg, about 15, 20 minutes. And that's the Hemp Oil Canada facility. So within our two facilities, we look after dehulling, we crush for oil, produce protein, and then from there we produce a number of additional products. As a matter of fact, just in the last couple of weeks, we announced a specialty deal with Whole Foods Markets, where we have organic hemp going into new smoothie and baking product mixes. So Whole Foods will be selling those on an exclusive 90-day period before they get introduced to new stores. But the products that we produce, you're probably familiar, hemp hearts, hemp seed oil, the protein powders, and other things. So as far as our contracts, yes, we're still looking for organic, and following the price trends of all other commodities, very similar. We're at record prices. I've been with the organization for 8 years, and we haven't seen hemp prices to this point in my career with the company. And we're now signing contracts for organic for $2.03 a pound. And we do have storage premiums for later deliveries. The way the contracts work, we do have an act of God clause. It's a full production contract. Our base price using our varieties is $2.03 per pound, with additional storage premiums for later deliveries. And the way the delivery structure works is that earlier signing equals earlier delivery. We've always been hand to mouth as long as I've been with the company for organic. And, I think right now, if you sign in the very near future, we could probably get you in for like a May, June delivery. So we're fairly current as far as movement goes. And, that's one of the things that the organic side of our business is continually growing. There's more demand than supply. And if you grow it, we have a spot for it. So our current crop needs, again, still open for organic contracts. We'll probably be signing contracts all the way up into seeding time. Seeding for this crop can be later. So right now we're getting some significant snowfall. It may delay some things on planting. And we are able to put hemp in the ground well into June and still not see a yield penalty. So that might be an advantage for somebody thinking of diversifying their spring work, or if you happen to be a little later getting onto the fields. So the contract features that we have, we're trying to do some new things. Now, being a specialty crop, growers do see some perceived risk for the crop. But one of the things we're doing with our contracts is we're offering early payment to try reduce that cash flow risk. And what early payment means, typically in our industry, growers are paid 30 days after delivery to our facilities. What we're implementing this year is that growers will be paid on 75% of the estimated volume at the seed cleaning facility. So that means before it even gets to us. And that means earlier cash flow for that portion of the payment by about 6 weeks, if not a little bit more, by the time it gets to our facility. So, 75% estimated volume once we get the clean pre-shipment sample from the cleaning facility, and it's our freight bill to get the product from the cleaning facility to ours. We're also paying for the seed cleaning costs up front. So again, to relieve some cash flow risks. And what that means is that we pay the bill up front. Grower's still responsible for it, but then it gets deducted from that remaining 75, and then we true up the actual scale ticket weights when it does arrive. So hopefully that does offer some risk improvement as far as the cash flow side of things. So we talked about contract terms, mentioned about active God, full production, movement, storage premiums, and then current price indications, as I mentioned, $2.03 per pound, which is higher than we've ever been before. We are looking for spot if it's available. Generally, hemp is contracted and it's dedicated to a specific buyer. If it is available, we'd be open to talk with you. And price indications for spot is probably closer to what our contract price is, and give you an indication of where we're at. The other things we do as an organization, we do have certified seed available. There's 2 agronomists that are employed by the company. I consider them as our coaches for our growers. Hemp being a specialty crop does take some specific agronomic considerations, and that's what our agronomists are there for, is to try and make it as much of a turnkey operation as possible. We provide the seed, we provide guidance from as early as right now in selecting crop rotations and trying to plan everything through from planting to scouting fields in the summertime all the way to harvest and storage. So we try to make it as easy as possible for growers getting into a new crop. And then as far as expectations for markets, we talked about pricing, but I think we can see these prices holding on for some time. And following where commodities are at, specifically organic commodities, I think we'll continue to see some good returns in hemp over the next foreseeable future. So, for this 22 production year and probably beyond, depending on how commodities fare in general. So with that, I'll conclude. And if there's any questions, I'll be happy to take them.
Yeah, we have one question right off the bat here. It's, is the paperwork still difficult for permits?
Okay, good question. There still is a license required for growers to grow hemp. Now, it's much easier than it used to be. There's no requirement for a police background check. Our agronomists can walk you through the licensing process. It's getting online, a few clicks, filling in some information, but our folks can help and try and make that work a little easier.
It says, next question, would you comment on your current producers where they feel hemp works well in organic rotations?
Okay, another good question. Hemp requires some good nitrogen in the soil to produce a good competitive crop. So typically we're looking for hemp to be placed right after the green plow down. If you have supplemental compost or other fertility amendments, that would be fantastic. We have growers that use composted poultry manure, for example, and they get some fantastic results. So typically right after the plow down. The thing with hemp is that the carryout of nitrogen isn't as great as what its growing requirements are. So there's a lot of nitrogen left in the soil. And then we get comments from growers who will follow that up with a cereal for the next crop year, oats, for example, or others, and tend to get some very good production. Hemp has a deep taproot, so it does reach down and pull up nutrients. It will search for moisture if necessary, as it did this past year. And it does leave the soil in very good condition for the subsequent crop.
Has there been any use of hemp in intercropping, given, in particular, you address the nitrogen needs of it and whether or not, it might be a good combination with a legume, for example?
Yeah, it's been experimented with. It's not something we have a lot of experience with. I have seen an example of where it's been intercropped with peas. In that situation, you do need to make sure you have your varieties that mature around the same time. Probably a question for our agronomist, but not a huge depth of experience from our standpoint on that.
Another question, price per acre to seed.
Okay. And as I mentioned, we do provide certified seed, and it's a requirement from Health Canada on planting. We're holding our seed prices constant from the previous year. We try not to increase input costs. Price per seed is $1.95 per pound, and that's in bulk. And there's an additional 15 cents a pound for toting if required. And typical seeding rates are around, we started about 30 pounds per acre, give or take, and some organic growers will bump it up by a pound or two. So you're looking at, $55 to $60 an acre for seed input.
All righty, that looks like the questions for the moment. So
Okay.
Thank you very much for joining us, Clarence. Good luck with the storm.
Thank you.
All righty. Next up is Bailey Ogilvie from Scoular. Thanks for joining us today, Bailey.
Good morning. I am doing well. How are you doing? You don't need to answer.
Well, thank you. Not as much snow as to the east.
That's right. Yeah, I'm Bailey Ogilvie. Also, great job, Will, on pronouncing my last name right. You nailed it. I work for Schoular Canada. We're a 130-year-old company headquartered in Omaha, Nebraska. And at our roots, we're a commodity trading and supply chain management firm. So in the last couple of years, very much so in the last year, we've started to develop and grow our organics program based out of Western Canada. And that's what I'm here for. I've moved into a purely organics role actually just as of February. So that's why I'm in front of you instead of Drew, who was here last time. So with the building of an organics program, we are still actively building programs out for a lot of commodities that I know are grown widely in Western Canada. We've come a long way even since last year's webinar, so I'm excited to be here in a bigger way than we were previously. We operate 3 organically certified facilities in Western Canada. Primary one would be up at Brooksby, Sask, so that's in the northeast of the province near Tisdale. And then we also have certified facilities at Richardson, just southeast of Regina, and St. Jean-Baptiste, Manitoba, so just an hour south of Winnipeg. And I myself am based out of our Saskatoon office. As for crops that we purchase, I mean, we're interested in everything today. We're trying to grow all of these programs. We do have very solid programs in place right now for brown and golden flax, and we're actively looking for oats, yellow peas, and spring wheat as well, especially new crop, but definitely interested in old crop as well. Other markets that we're active in today to a smaller degree are organic lentils, so primarily French green and red, and green peas. I have been asked a lot about things like fall rye, black lentils, mustard, durum. I don't want to leave those out of the conversation. I want to still talk about them if you've got them and if you're looking for a marketing option for them. But those are programs that we're just actively working to build out at this point in time. So I don't have too much information that I can give on them today. We do run a few specialty programs, Newland 50 variety golden flax, marrow fat peas, and we're interested in talking to you if you're considering growing hemp as well this year. We are currently filled up for a 2022 marrow fat program, but if you're interested in trying them out next year, if you want more information, reach out, no problem. Top 4 current crop priorities today for me are flax, yellow peas, oats, and wheat. I have contracts available for all of these today. As far as fall contracts go, primarily flax, yellow peas, and oats. And interested, like I said, in talking about hemp as well, and chickpeas if you're planning to put those in the ground. As for pricing indications, I'm going to stick to the oats, the flax, yellow peas, and wheat today, just because those are what I'm actively searching for, and that's where I'm going to be the most competitive as well. All of our prices are going to be FOB your farm, picked up in your yard. Old crop will all be for May, June, possibly July movement. New crop, October, November, December. And the FOB farm bids, they are a little bit subject to location, but for the most part, they shouldn't vary too much. Brown flax, we are covered off for the next little while, so I'm a little lower than the others on this call. I'm $60 a bushel for old crop today. Just with India's harvest coming at us in the next couple months, we're anticipating a little bit of softness there. And like I said, we're we're pretty covered off for the next little bit. New crop, $55 a bushel, includes an active God on 5 bushels an acre. I've been asked about the terms of our active God a lot. I don't know if I have time for that in my presentation, but definitely if you are looking for an explanation on that, contact me directly, throw a question into the chat, and I would love to talk about that a little bit more. Golden flax, same thing on the old crop, about that 60 range. New crop, we would do either $60 or $61 picked up, depending on whether you want to try a Newland variety or not. Also includes the active God on 5 bushels an acre. Oats, old crop, I would be at $15 today. New crop would be looking 10 to 11. Active God on 10 bushels an acre there. I don't have a premium right now for gluten-free. That's something that I've been asked about a lot. So I've got my finger on the pulse there, working that on the back end to see what I can get set up. So stay tuned. Hopefully we can get something going there. Yellow peas, 25 picked up for old crop. New crop, 18 to 20 picked up, roughly speaking. Also has the active God. Everything has the active God on it. And then wheat, old crop, I'd be looking at 25 picked up. Definitely let me know if you've got some in the bin, and if you've got a number in mind, I wanna talk about all of it. I'm definitely open to the conversation on everything. And then since I've mentioned hemp and chickpeas, I don't have firm bids that I can offer up today. I more so want to understand better what's going into the ground this year, since those aren't enormous crops that are grown in a large way. I want to understand what we're looking like for planting before I can really define what sort of value I can offer. I do want to keep it competitive. So again, if you're interested, let's talk about it. But I can't really throw out a number today. Contract terms, we do charge a handling fee of $8.50 a ton on all of our organic commodities that we handle. It's right on the front of our contracts. I'll do my best to make sure that we talk about it if we're going to do new business together, so that you're well aware. I'm not interested in hidden fees or blindsiding anybody or anything like that. So just making sure that that one's out there. Aside from that, we take elevator dockage on deliveries, so we don't charge any sort of extra % or base dockage on top of it. Just whatever's delivered is what we use, and we use third-party results to resolve disputes. We have quick payment terms. We issue payments on all of our contracts within 10 business days of delivery, so 2 weeks, and we can do direct deposit as well. Buyer bonded with the CGC. Like I mentioned earlier, there's a lot of history and a lot of diversity within this company that contributes to, we've got a really strong financial backing, which is really important right now. Last but not least, I'll keep it quick, market insights for 2022. I don't have any major news flash that nobody's touched on yet. I mean, there's a ton of volatility out there right now. Look at all the supply chain disruptions that we've seen. I mean, truck freight, fuel prices, ocean freight, railway strikes, war in Ukraine. Nobody knows how long it's going to last or how it's going to affect their wheat and their flax getting planted. I mean, the list just goes on of reasons that there's a ton of volatility out there. And then there have been lots of talking points today about moisture too, and just how that's going to affect the new crop year. I mean, there's a general feeling of being in a better position for moisture today than we were at this point last year, but moisture throughout the season is going to tell a very different story if we get rains and if we don't. So overall, tough to say much other than time will tell, like everybody else is saying. And I would just like to leave with a reminder that Scoular's a big company. We've got a lot of international supply chain experience, and in times where supply chain disruptions are affecting the markets to this degree, we are a safe bet to do business with. Thanks everyone for, thanks to Evan and Will for running the show smoothly. You're so far doing a good job. Great job.
Thanks, Bailey. One question that came in, and you may have mentioned it, but you covered a lot of territory here. What's your new crop wheat price?
I don't have a firm one yet. I would indicate anywhere from 15 to 18 sort of thing. I'm still working to define that. So give me a call. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about what type you're putting in, how many acres you're putting in, and where you are. And I'll work that back and we'll find something for you.
This person says, Bailey, did you say you're taking organic hemp?
Yeah, we're interested in talking about it. That's another program that we have some irons in the fire and we want to get it rocking and rolling. So need to understand obviously both the demand side and the supply side. So again, let's have that conversation.
Okay, and we did have another question, which was a duplicate of the wheat price question. So you already answered that one. The next one was, is barley on your radar?
Barley's on my radar. Yeah, that's another one that again we're aware of it. We're throwing some leads out and seeing what we can find out. So let's talk about it. I don't have prices today. It's a fairly new one to us, but again, I'm interested.
All right, thank you. And where are your delivery points?
So we would accept all of our organic commodities up at our Brooksby Sask facility, so in Northeast Saskatchewan. We are certified to do organic flax at Richardson, and then we are certified for everything out at St. Jean Baptiste as well, although typically we would prefer to use our Brooksby facility over St. Jean.
All right, that looks like the extent of the questions at the moment.
All right, thank you.
So I thank you very much for presenting for us. Now over to PHS Organics, an old friend, Alex Galarneau. Welcome, Alex.
Hello, can you hear me?
We can.
Okay. Well, hello, Will and Sask Organics and everybody on the webinar. It looks like we got 60 attendees out of 251. I'd like to say hello to all of you guys out there. Special thanks to Sask Organics for hosting and all the hard work that you guys do for the organic producers and the industry in the province. Chapeau, thanks to you guys. You're a very important organization, and we really appreciate the work that you've done. And also you, Will, you're many years in the industry. Thank you for all your work and due diligence. For those people who don't know me, I'm Alex Galarneau, owner of Prairie Heritage Seeds, PHS Organics. We've been in the organic industry for about 30 years, my father, my brother, and I. We own a seed cleaning plant and grain company out of Radville. We contract, we offer full production contracts, forward contracts, spot buy, and market intelligence for those who want to listen.
Alex,
yes?
Sorry to interrupt you. Your webcam's not on, and I'm not sure if you want it on or if you've now joined by phone. I'm not sure, but I just wanted to let you know in case you wanted to turn it on.
Sorry.
There we go.
There it is. Boomers can't click the right buttons that need to be done. Sorry about that. Apologize. Main grains that we handle is kamut, of course. We're the exclusive buyer of kamut in Canada and distributor in Canada and Europe. We also buy hard red spring wheat, soft wheat, spring wheat, flax, and feed grains. We are contracting right now kamut, and we're looking for new growers in the brown and light brown soil zone. In the contract, we have an act of God clause. It's a full production contract. We actually have a seed supply available. We have an interesting seed supply way to get going into the industry. If you are a new grower, if you're an old grower, you know the system. We will actually let you buy the seed at a discounted rate, and or if you can't finance it, we will supply it as a swap. So you produce it, and we'll just swap you the bushels in the fall. We expect this year that the kamut will be brisk delivery as our store shelves are bare. Once we hit the ground running and all our testing is complete, I think we are going to be at full capacity and providing the logistics cooperates. What else can I say? It's been a crazy year. Last year at this time, I don't think we could have predicted where we are today. No one could. If they could, they should be in Vegas and making a living out there, because the future was just unbelievable. And this year is probably the same, if not more volatile, like all the other speakers said. We're cautiously looking at logistics. With a lot of the container ships taking out of the industry, Russia was one of our big shipping vessels. They own a lot of container ships. With them taking out of the industry, we're going to have a little trouble moving grain offshore. Prairie Heritage Seeds, 80% of our grain goes to Europe. 20% is North America, and so we are very affected by the logistics and supply chain. To give an example, containers are very, very, very tough to get these days, and that has probably impacted our deliveries from last year's crop. But the rest of the grain that's out there will be moving very quickly, providing we can get the containers. Going forward, I can't add to any more to what everybody else says. I want to talk to Bioriginal's comments on losing organic acres. That is a very big concern. I think it should be a very concern for every panelist on this program today. Without organic growers, we don't have an industry. So coming from the industry, the commercial retail people, the consumers are buying our product. There is a demand. We have to make sure that our prices are in line to have the growers ensure that they can compete on the farm side with conventional prices. When we see conventional prices rising, it's a little disheartening for us organic farmers. And I speak as an organic farmer because I am an organic farmer, to see that the organic prices are not moving up. But we know in the industry there is always a lag. Conventional prices will go up. Organic takes a little while to get there. I do believe we are there now. And the beauty of it, we have a lag going down. Conventional prices can go down really quickly, where organic takes a long time to slide down. So as organic farmers out there, feel confident that these prices will be sustained where they are, if not rise in the coming years. PHS's contracts, on our full production contracts, we reserve the right to raise the price at any time. So if you have signed a contract in January, let's say, and we have increased the price, we retroactively will go back and increase that price to you. The phrase "a raising tide will float all ships," that's exactly the way we perceive it. If the price goes up, we want every farmer to benefit from that. And to give you an example, on last year's contract, we were paying out an additional $8 a bushel contract on our Kamut compared to what was contracted. So we were quite confident of that, and we're now today at $30 a bushel for the Kamut contract, and that's a minimum price. We don't know where the top will be, but when we reach that top, we will let everybody know, and we will lock that in. And if you deliver earlier in the year and you get to 30 and the price goes up, we retroactively pay you that back. And we have done that for the last 5-6 years. That's all I have to say. Wish everybody the best of luck in the future going forward. I do believe that the weather patterns have changed. We're in an El Nino weather pattern, and I hope that the Southwest, you guys get some more rain out there. But I do believe what I see in the Drew Lerner weather prognosis forecast that we sent out at the beginning of the week, it bodes well for everybody in the Southwest. So thank you very much, and thank you for the time, Will, and thank you to Sask Organics for the continuing work.
Thank you, Alex. Oh yes, one question is here from stating any production contract available other than Kamut.
Yes, there is. We are looking at flax, and we are looking at hard red spring wheat on a limited acre basis, and we are sitting at about $20 for spring wheat, and we are looking at the 60 to 65 for flax, brown flax. The soft white wheat is a spot buy, and the feed grains is spot buy also.
There's an appreciative comment here to you, Alex. It says, just a comment coming from a farmer. You're looking after the farmer, so thank you for that. That's respecting your producers, exclamation mark. All righty. And question, do you have to be in the brown soil zone to get a Kamut contract?
Well, we prefer you in the brown soil zone just because of it will ensure your success. We do not want to encourage people to grow it where they can't grow it. I go back to, it's hard to grow bananas in Saskatchewan, but we won't contract any bananas because we know that you won't be able to grow it. So the issues with the brown soil, or the black soil zone, and anything north is Kamut is a semi-arid type crop. It likes the dry weather, and it needs that dry climate. So if you can grow it in the Southwest, that's where we find the greatest success. And if a farmer is successful, the whole program will be successful.
A question on spot prices for soft white wheat and feed.
Currently, soft white, we are at $19 delivered Radville, and feed prices is about $13, depending on the type of feed.
All righty. That looks like the extent of the questions for the moment here.
Thank you, everybody. Good luck, and wish many successes in the rain and in the forecast and abundance crop going forward. And let's be safe, and let's take care of our mental health out there too, because we're under a lot of pressure with everything that's going on in the world negatively. And let's take care of ourselves first, and then everything else will take care of itself after it. That's my thoughts. Thank you, Will.
Thanks, Alex. All righty. Next up, MGM Seed and Grain, and here representing them is Mark Valois. Thanks, Mark. Over to you. You're muted right now, I think.
How's that? It's probably better.
Much better.
Okay. Good morning. Thanks for having me. So I'm Mark Valois. I'm a grain buyer here at MGM Seed and Grain. As of June last year, we were acquired by Bay State Milling out of the United States. Bay State Milling is a family-owned milling company with locations all over the U.S. So that's good news on that part. Good company to work for. So yeah, we buy organic and conventional gluten-free oats. We only purchase organic and conventional gluten-free oats. We facilitate growing gluten-free oats by making sure the crop rotation is there. We help you out with planting seed, crop inspections. We make sure that everything is all in place so that you're successful at growing gluten-free oats. So we offer, so we do all the milling here. So we're a full production mill here in Saskatoon. We do some contracting for acres with the full production with Act of God on there on both organic and conventional. We're currently contracting organic at $13, picked up in the yard for a new crop. Old crop, we're still buying some right around that $16 mark. I guess that's just about it. The contracts we do, like I said, they're full production contracts, and it's from September to end of July. So we spread out the movement from September to end of July, with half of it gone in the first part of the year and the other half's in the second part of the year. So I think that's just about it, seeing that pretty short presentation for myself.
Just waiting to see if there are any questions here. Are you likewise, and you're in the oat market, obviously, and there was a comment earlier that they see Manitoba acres perhaps going up, and I suppose, reflecting on the fact that oats are at I would say, historic highs, in my experience, and I've been in organics for a while. I don't think I've ever seen prices as high on a bushel of oats as has been the case this year. Are you seeing likewise, are you anticipating a lot of acres going into oats this year?
Yeah, I think there is, especially with oats are typically an easier crop, good part of the rotation. So definitely seeing some increase in acres. The prices have to stay high. I think oats are finally being priced at a food grade level now. I think these prices are here to stay. It's not just a one-time thing. I think the demand for the oats have gone up significantly, and I'm not seeing I don't anticipate any crashes in the prices. It'll stay up in these areas for sure.
Are the prices on oats? There's a lot of talk about oat milk, for example. Is that one of the factors in increasing the demand for oats in general? Yeah,
definitely the milk part of it is the big thing. So not just the milk, but the milk that they're doing with it. They're making the ice cream with the milk. They're making the yogurt with the milk now. So it's it's definitely the big demand for that part. That's helping it out quite a bit.
Do you have a question that's come up here? What rotation makes oats gluten free?
So we have to have a minimum of 2 years without any wheat or barley or any kind of gluten crops. So your ancient grains, your durum and all that. So, so the kind of rotation, a lot of them that we have is, some guys will have some peas, then hemp, and then oats, or, following their plow down or alfalfa plow down, stuff like that. So as long as there's a minimum of 2 years without any wheat or barley, the typical gluten crops that were found in the oats, as long as you keep those within 2 years, and having some good planting seed is the two main factors.
Another question, it says, what happens if oats are rejected because of contamination? Now, it's not specific about what kind of contamination it's talking in this question, but there's the question.
Well, but the thing we do here, like we start right from the start, right? So we make sure that your planting seed is good, your rotation is there. We come out and do crop inspections as well. That's all part of the full package deal that we offer. We make sure all that is in there. Once all that is set up, and the likelihood of it being rejected are really low if we keep following all those protocols that we have in place.
Question with oats. Oats is being used more frequently, perhaps as an intercrop. And is there any issues with contamination from legume chips, for example? Lentils or pea chips in that. Do you have any problems in that?
No, we just we do have some thresholds on there, but a lot of the guys that we do have intercrop with peas, as long as it's not polluted with split peas or something like that, we usually be able to clean them out.
Okay. It says, do you only buy gluten-free oats?
Yes.
Okay. All righty. Somebody says they'll be talking to you about a production contract for Arborg.
Perfect. That is one of our definitely one of our top varieties.
That brings us to the question, I guess. Are there specific varieties that you have in mind or that you prefer seeing?
There's definitely some pot milling ones. This year, definitely trying to find some seed is the tough part of it, right? So as long as it's clean and pure of gluten, right, this year, it's the time to still accepting them, like your Morgan, your Camden, some of these older varieties. But in the following years, yeah, we would be offering premiums possibly into the newer varieties that have the higher beta glucan and better milling qualities for sure.
Yeah, in fact, I'm wondering if there is a shortage of supply. I contacted somebody about Arborg, and he said this is a conventional grower, of course, and he said that it had been gone. Other Arborg had been gone for a long time already.
Yeah, no, there definitely is a shortage. A lot of guys holding their own seed back, so I don't think the shortage of seed is going to drop down in the acres, planting acres. Maybe just you won't be as variety specific for some guys.
Okay, do you have an active God clause?
Yes, full active God clause on there. And our contracts are 1 page long. It's not 5 pages or 10 or 20. Everything's all on 1 page. Pretty straightforward, simple contracts.
There's probably a question of interest on somebody's part here. After oat milk is made, what happens to what's left of the oats?
I'm not 100% sure on that one.
Question for you to ask somebody, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you answered the question about only gluten-free oats, no standard organic oats. Yeah.
Yeah.
Correct? You're just gluten-free.
Strictly gluten-free, yes.
Right. And preferred varieties, maybe we already touched on that, I guess, here.
Yeah, like definitely the Arborg and the Arborg Minstrel, the Endure, Dancer. Like there's quite a big variety of them that are.
Morgan and.
Yeah, the Morgan is the Morgan. Growers are always like growing it, so we still accept it. Definitely, as we get more production, the Arborg and stuff, we'll be picking those off before we would buy somebody's Morgan. But.
Alrighty. Well, that looks like we've tapped out here. So I thank you very much, Mark, for your presentation this morning. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Alrighty. Alrighty. We'll move to the next presenter. Next up is Avena Foods, and today we have Mike Gallais who's joining us. Welcome, Mike.
Good morning, everyone. Hopefully everybody's keeping their powder dry today with the storm that's going on outside.
Did you want us to see you, Mike? Because your video is not on.
I'm sorry. Is that better?
No, sorry.
Are we good now?
We're good. Yep.
You're good.
Okay. Yeah, I was just saying, hopefully everybody's staying warm. We've kind of got it. We've got a little bit of a snowstorm here down at Regina. Not a lot of snow yet, but it's coming apparently. I don't know how widespread it is across Saskatchewan, but it's definitely in the southeast corner and this far anyways. But yeah, anyways, tell you a little bit about our company. We're Avena Foods. We're specialty millers. So we mill all different varieties of pulses. We also do, we have an oat mill in Regina, and then we're just building a second one out here at Rowett. So we're in the construction phase of the second plant. We do gluten-free and both organic and conventional oats. We do gluten-free and organic. So we have a purity protocol system. So basically what we do is with our oat crop, we have certified seed. Also, we kind of require that people that are growing for us to go through their seed or ask their supplier on the organics, on the certified stuff, to make sure that you see the cleaning report to make sure there isn't any gluten, because there's a certain amount of gluten that's allowed in the seed. And one thing that's a big issue for us is the barley. Barley is really hard to clean out of the oats, so we try and minimize that. Our system is a lot the same as the purity. We follow the purity protocol system where we have two years of non-gluten crops. We have certified seed. We do the inspections. Accepted varieties of oats are, Endure, Ruffian, Arberg, Morgan, Camden, Minstrel, Dancer. We accept all those. The big thing for us this year, some of the growers are having a hard time sourcing certified seed, so we're letting them sow their own seed. But what we're doing is before they can seed it, they have to send us a clean sample of what they've got, of what they're going to seed, and we make sure that there's no gluten in there, so that it's just kind of a 1-year thing for this year because of the shortness of seed supply. Yeah, so oats, we're basically new crop. We're offering new crop contracts. We're at $14 delivered to Rowett. And as far as the old crop goes, we're 16.5. That's kind of up to negotiation a little bit on some of it. But it depends what you got, and we need to see a sample and whatever, and then we're kind of negotiate things from there. That's the oat part of our business. The other part of our business is pulses. So we do organic green splits, organic yellow splits, organic layered lentils, organic French greens, black lentils, red lentils. So we offer all those, both new and old crop contracts on those. We're looking at our new crop contracting program. We've been working on green peas. We were out there with $22. That program's pretty much filled up. Might have a few acres left. Yellows, similar pricing. There's still a few acres there. As far as French greens go, we're pretty much booked on the French greens. So if you're looking to grow some lentils, what's available? There's some organic lairds and some organic black lentils that we're kind of still looking for. So organic blacks are probably just north of $1 a pound, and the organic Lairds are, you know, they're a little bit north of 90 cents. So we're in that ballpark on those prices. So yeah, I don't know if there's anything else that anybody wants to talk about or any questions. I'd be happy to answer them.
Are you finding a shortage of coming out of the last harvest of things? Is it
Will, that's an understatement if I
partly
ever heard one.
demand and partly supply?
Demand, you know, last year was a funny year because I'm talking about 2021. The pulses, I was surprised that the pulse movement was as slow as it was. Like it was like green peas didn't move as good as they normally do. Like we have a pretty good organic green split pea program, and we had to really wait. A lot of our guys had to wait till late in the season to move their greens. It seems like the demand wasn't there, but we've got quite a good you know, we've got a really good start this year on our sales. We've kind of matched our sales and our purchase program pretty well, and it's looking really well. The other thing is, one thing that's happening, just so you know, with the war in the Ukraine, one thing that's happened in the pulses is that, of course, sunflower seeds and some of those other sesame seeds, things that go into some of the baking trade, the last 6 weeks or a couple of months, we've had a lot of interest in our cracked grains, in our pulses, like our peas and black beans and that sort of thing. So we're lentils, they're looking for more chips and that sort of thing. So there's quite a bit of interest there. So it'll be interesting to see what happens on the ingredient side of things this year. There's some good signs early anyways.
A question here, do you have a current spot price for green peas?
Yes, we do. It's at $26.
And this question kind of relates to what we were talking about. Did demand slow down with high prices at all, or has there been a correlation?
High prices look after high prices. You know, there's an old saying in the grain industry: the trees don't grow to heaven. So, you know, there's an end to everything. So, prices are, you know, maybe with everything else the way it's gone, you know, are they high? Are they too high priced? Not compared to everything else, but it's definitely, people are cautious. So what we've seen, like on our conventional side of the business, isn't much different than the organic. When prices get as high as they do, there's not a tendency for people to say, oh well, I'll buy 6 or 7 contract or containers at once or truckloads at once. I'll just buy 1 or 2. So they just kind of hand to mouth it more when the prices are higher. So it's really a lot more work for the processors to, you know, there's a lot more dialogue. You know what, it takes just as much time to sell 1 container as it does 6 or 7. So there's just, you know, there's a lot more dialogue going on back and forth because it happens more often rather than somebody stepping up to the plate and booking 20 containers or whatever, right? So.
All righty. Well, it looks like we've tapped out the questions here.
Okay. Well,
So I thank you very much.
Thank
Thanks,
you very much, everybody. Have a happy Easter and keep your powder dry.
Thanks, Mike. See you.
Bye.
Next up, Sunrise Foods International, and Bill Longman is the representative for them today. Thanks for joining us, Bill. Over to you. I'm not sure your mic is on, Bill.
There you go.
Thank you.
Hi, everybody. Bill Longman here with Sunrise Foods International. Nice to be here today. albeit it's virtually. It's always nice to see everybody in person, but this will have to do. I've been with Sunrise Foods, I guess now about 7 years. Sunrise has been around 25 as of this year. We started in 97 in Clendenin Neufeld's basement in Saskatoon, and have grown ever since. We've had a lot of growth lately. The company's doing well. We've expanded previously into the U.S. We have a market and an office in Pender, Nebraska. We've now got an office in Istanbul, Turkey, and in Amsterdam in the Netherlands. So with the more we market grain around the world, that's become necessary, and I guess that's a good thing for everybody. That opens up a lot more markets. I guess to speak to how things are going in organics and in agriculture in general, I guess it was one of those things where you just when you think you got things figured out, hold my beer, pandemic, drought, war, wouldn't be surprised to see the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse come riding in, kind of thing. But seriously, it's things are getting better. Hopefully, no more major issues, and we can get on with life. The plus side to that is it kind of maybe even prematurely brought some markets up on organics. That we've got the conventional prices kind of put a floor and pushed the organics from the bottom, and and then people being out and about and spending money and such kind of driven markets and getting the wheels turning. So so it's sure nice to see the higher prices for the farmers that have stuck it out. We've lost a few that have jumped the fence into the conventional side, pardon me. But I'm sure they're not real crazy about paying $1,500 a ton for nitrogen and high input chemical bills. So we'll put the seeds in the ground and we'll grow them organically and cross our fingers. It's nice to see the moisture in places coming down. Southwest Saskatchewan had a big dump of snow in a few areas, some of the higher elevation areas. Hopefully that continues. Southeast looks like you guys are getting hit. Manitoba's getting walloped right now, so that was good. Wade and I, with our company, we did some touring around lately. We've been up along the tree line, some of the traditional oat growing areas, all the way up into northern Alberta, and a lot of moisture to start things, so that's encouraging. And it seems like there'll be a lot of oats, for example, seeded. I would guess a lot of people are talking that way. So we're hoping everything gets a good start. Markets have been challenging. Like some of the other people have said, if I think Alex said, if we knew the answers to what these markets were going to do, we'd all be in Vegas right now and making money. So it was unfortunate, some of the prices, as they went up. As a grain buyer, you felt bad because you gave a guy a price on Monday that you thought was a really strong bid and you felt good about it, and by the next Monday it was up. It was crazy, and it was hard for us too, offering Act of God contracts. In some ways you could look ahead at the old crop and try to position yourself and buy in a few things as we saw maybe the drought coming last year. But on a lot of things, when farmers had to enact their Act of God clause, it left everybody hanging out in the wind a little bit, and everybody scrambled. We all started competing for product, and away we go, and such goes the market. So we're hoping this year's a little more stable for everybody and still strong. At Sunrise, we kind of pride ourselves on easy grading. We try to work with farmers. I'd say we're about as farmer friendly a company as we could be. We've grown as a large company, but we still have our roots here, and we try to follow the principles that were set by Glenn and by Jake Neufeld, to how we deal with people. There's usually no issue that we can't find some middle ground, common ground on. We offer, the Act of Gods, as I mentioned. We don't do DDC contracts, so people aren't writing a big check at the end of the year if you don't have it. Third-party grading, of course, and electronic payments and such, and no handling charges. So I guess all that aside, I probably should get into the things that everybody usually wants to hear about on the pricing. We got a pretty extensive list. We deal with pretty much everything except for hemp. starting with oats, we've bought a lot of oats. Right now, we're basically sitting out. We're got filled up here probably last week. We'll be back in the game here. We're just kind of taking a breather here to see where we're at and go from there. We do a lot of wheat. That's probably one of our major commodities that we do trade. Old crop wheat right now on a 13 protein is around $25 a bushel, picked up in the yard. Everything I quote will be picked up prices as well. New crop, we're looking at probably 21 in the yard for new crop spring wheat on again on a 13. And then on soft white wheat, there's been a lot of people grew soft white wheat this year. That would have been one soft white wheat in Durham that I would have been completely wrong on. I would have guessed there would have been strong demand. Durham and soft white were very quiet, and there was a fair supply of soft white growing. So old crop soft white, I've got a little bit more to cover here, probably $18.50 to $19 in the yard, and new crops looking like about 14. Not ideal. Last year would have looked great. This year, it doesn't look so shiny, but we'll see what we can do with that. Feed barley, kind of a guess. We're indicating $8 for fall. That's, I throw it up in the air and see what happens. I don't expect to buy a lot of that. Traditionally, $8 for new crop feed barley is probably a strong price, and it'll all depend on the weather, whether we have a crop. If there's a lot of grain around, a lot of feed around, you'll probably see the feed prices start to push down, but that remains to be seen. And feed wheat, I think currently we're around $13 picked up. Flax, that was the one where you needed an armed guard on your truck this year. Pretty crazy pricing. We probably would pick up a little bit more old crop flax, somewhere 75, 80. Let's see your sample and we'll talk. New crop flax, we've been buying a 56 picked up. That's just on a straight CGC dockage with active God, no extra elevator dockage or anything like that added. And there is an option on delivery on that one. If you do like to deliver your own, we could look at paying you for the freight on that as well. Peas, we're going to buy a little bit more new crop peas, probably $19.50 picked up. You catch us on the right day, maybe $20. And we're always buying a little feed peas too. There wasn't a lot of off-grade feed quality peas around this year, but give us a call if you do have some. We trade quite a bit of mustard, I guess, relatively speaking. Old crop mustard, yellow and brown, we're probably full or awful close. There wasn't a lot around, so a lot of the 500 and 800 bushel lots, but we take it all. We work on split trucks or figuring things out with people. Brown was around $1.70 to $1.80. Some of the conventional prices actually passed organic for a little while because of the demand for seed, but I feel like that's probably been met. I don't know. And new crop somewhere around $1.20 on brown mustard. Old crop yellow about $1.75, $1.80, and new crop about $1.25 a pound. We do a lot of lentils organically. Pretty much full on everything for old crop. You sure can give us a call or send us a sample if you do have some. We would take a look at them. Again, we moved a lot of small lots and some leftovers. Tried to clean out some bins for people. New crop this year, large greens are around $1 a pound. That program's almost full, but give us a call. French green lentils about 90 cents a pound, and organic blacks, I think we're about 95 a pound. And those are all picked up, of course, for fall. And we do a limited amount of small green Eston style lentils as well. So if you do see those, let me know. I'm sure they'll be in that ballpark as well. Looking at my cheat sheet here, I think that's pretty much got it. We didn't do much for malt this last year. Pretty quiet. I'm sure a few of you tried to support the malt industry with the occasional beverage, but Sunrise, we didn't do a lot of the malt. We stuck to a lot of the other things. I think that's pretty much got it for prices. Yeah, any questions?
There are a couple as of the moment. First one is there a premium of yellow over brown flax?
Uh, the last little while there has been. It kind of goes in cycles. You'll get small market niche crops like say golden flax, where the market gets full because people grow it, they chase the price. Typically, they stop growing it then for 1, 2, 3 years. All of a sudden, there becomes a shortage. Demand is there, price spikes because there is none in the market, and away we go. So it varies a little bit. I've noticed from what the other people have been saying and what we've run into that there has been a premium this last year. I'd anticipate from speaking to a lot of growers, there's going to be a fair number of flax acres go in, and there seems to be some interest in gold. So that's my long-winded way of saying there'll probably be a premium this year. I don't have a premium this year. I don't have a new crop price, I guess I would say, for gold, but we do buy spot yellow flax. So depends on the year.
Another question, much room in new contract mustards?
A little bit of room, yep. Yeah, definitely give us a shout. We're filling up fast, but it's another one where it was tough last year with the drought, but prices are strong enough. Guys are sure willing to give it another try. And one consequence or one effect of these prices is crop insurance bases are up. I mean, nobody ever wants to farm for crop insurance, but it is a little bit of a safety net there as well. So I mean, if you've got act of God and a crop insurance price that covers your backside a little bit, that doesn't hurt.
Gluten-free oats and rye, do you handle them?
Gluten-free on occasion. That's not our strong point. I noticed this last year when there was a shortage of gluten-free oats that, from the companies that use the protocols, they're definitely having to look around a little bit, but we get requests for it once in a while. Our main oat mill does a little bit of the business, but I wouldn't call that our strong point. You asked about rye, Will, was that the other one?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, rye was quiet again. Last year, people were all over rye looking for it. It's been a little quieter for sure this year. And last year, I feel like the rye crop was probably one of the better crops in the dry areas, being that it was in the ground in the fall and got a little better start maybe and off before the dreadful heat last year on some of it. So, but we do buy rye. I don't have a bid today, but we'll be back in the game shortly, I'm sure.
And durum, old and new prices.
That was the one that I would have lost my shirt on last year. I would have guessed, we saw the drought coming. It was all in the traditional durum growing areas. And we thought, holy cow, here we go. There's not going to be 2 truckloads of durum in the province. A lot of the companies we've noticed have started to move away from durum. The big companies, some of them have started to incorporate wheat. This started before the drought. When wheat was cheap, durum was high. You started to see some companies experimenting with pastas made with wheat. I don't imagine it's maybe as good a quality, maybe flavor wise, but there has been some of that going on. I've noticed some of the large companies and some of the packaging in the big retail stores have even gone away from 100% organic on certain products that almost name brand stuff for organic people. And yeah, so durum has been quiet. There is some durum growing in the south on irrigation and things too, and I think that filled a little bit of the market. But I currently don't have a durum bid.
Okay, one last question.
I hope somebody does. I hope somebody can get something moving for people.
In the malt market, are they specifically asking for certain varieties of barley?
The old standbys, the Copelands and the Metcalfs work. That's kind of where the industry's been built on. You'll see some years, depending on market demand, and some companies have specific recipes, so they will allow a synergy, or they'll use some of the newer varieties. Again, it seems to fall back on whether or not the supply is there. If the supply is there, in most markets, customers can get quite fussy. When you've got limited supplies, you take what you can get. That's usually the way she works.
Well, I think we're done with the questions there, Bill. Thank you very much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks, Will, and thanks to Deb. She always works with me on my lack of IT skills, and thanks to Marla. I know she's not here today, but we really appreciate all the work you guys do.
Thank you. Righto. Next up, And last, actually, is grain millers. And we have joining us today Laura Weinbender from Grain Millers. Thanks, Laura. You're up.
All right. Good morning, everybody. And thanks for having me again. And thanks to Sask Organics for arranging this. It's always nice to see how everyone's doing and what's going on out there for others. And hopefully the growers on the call, you guys are getting some good information out of this. So we have a new buyer here. So I want to start with that. We've expanded our team, Cornelius. He started about a month ago. He's been with Grain Millers for 1.5 years. He did work in the mill for a while, and then he came on board with us here. So there he is. You can see him now. So yeah, he came on board. He'll be out of the Yorkton office now, and I will be moving up to the Schwaluk area where my fiance is. So I'll be moving up in summertime. So I'll be able to keep my job with us, and then Kelly will be stationed in Yorkton, and I will be up there. So I'll get into some markets now here. For organic old crop, we are almost to the point where we're fully bought out. We're still looking for a bit more, so our bid has dropped a little bit recently to $13.50 delivered to Yorkton for May to August movement. So if you have some in the bin and you haven't got it graded yet or anything, just send us a sample and we can check it out. We're also looking for old crop gluten-free organic. So if you think you have gluten-free, send us a sample of that as well. Make sure you label it as gluten-free so it gets graded for that, and then we can go from there. So our protocol for gluten-free is 1 kernel of gluten grains per 1,000 grams of oats. So if it passes for gluten-free, then you'll get the premium there. If it doesn't pass for gluten-free, but it meets all of our other milling specs, then we can take it as regular organic, less the premium on that. For new crop, our prices have been steady for that so far at $10 for September through December movement. That's delivered, and then $10.50 for January to August movement. So I would expect those to hold steady for a while now, and if we see any fluctuations, it'll be once we see how the growing season goes, and hopefully it is better than this past year. And with the snow and some moisture coming, and hopefully this is the last big snowstorm of the year. There's always that last one before spring actually hits. So we'll see how that goes. If you're curious in that, let us know. We do offer full active God on all of our new crop contracts as well. We're also looking for some flax yet with Bryce in Saskatoon with $70 picked up for old crop brown and $55 for new crop brown picked up, and $75 for old crop organic yellow, and $60 for new crop organic yellow. Those are picked up as well. So if you want to talk to Bryce, you can get him at 306-933-4644, or you can just contact me or Kelly or Scott here at the office, and we can get you in touch with him. So that's the gist of it. Keep it short and sweet. I don't want to keep you guys too much longer, but I'll take any questions and hand it back to Will.
Thank you. Have I seen any questions come up here? Not at the moment here. So I'll ask the same question of you in terms of the oats. Are you getting a sense that there's going to be a lot more oat planted this year as a consequence of the higher price last year? That often seems to be the case.
Yes, we are expecting more oat acres to go in the ground. I know some guys are still looking for seed, so I think that'll be a factor for some. But with the strong prices, there is more going in. So we're anticipating that and see what happens with the growing season coming up. So.
Was there an impact on quality of oats last year as well as quantity from the drought?
Yes. So there's not as much carryover, obviously, this year. We, like I said, we're almost fully bought out to get us to new crop, which is good so far. But quality has been iffy, higher thins, smaller growths, lower test weights on average. Thankfully, we've been able to be pretty flexible with our specs on what we can accept this year. So we're continuing to do that going forward yet on old crop. So.
All righty. Excuse me. Well, there are no specific questions coming in. My apologies, people, for questions if they're slow at typing and they don't get here till it's too late, but we've tried to cover them off as best we could here.
Sorry, Will, if you don't mind, I'd just like to introduce myself like Laura said here. She's still going to be on with us in our procurement team in a slightly different position up in Shellbrook, but I want to thank her and Scott for bringing me on board here at the procurement side of things. I've been with Grain Millers for about 2 years now, primarily in the mill. So I want to thank them, and I'm excited to join a team that handles the producers in a well-known and respected way, and hopefully we get some moisture this year. And with the crazy prices on board, I'm sure that, like you said, there will be slightly more seeded acres this year. So I'm looking forward to meeting you all in person and virtually. I want to thank Sask Organics for having me today as a panelist. And yeah, if you want to give me a shout or want any pricing needs, just give us a call here at the office. I'm happy to handle that.
And beyond the flax and oats, you guys do handle some other things from time to time, do you not?
Occasionally some wheat, barley, rye, organic that would go to our mill in Iowa. That's been pretty slow on that side for us because usually they supply what they can out of the States, and then if they need more, they'll look up here. So we haven't had too much going on, but if you do have, you can always let us know. We still will take samples and get them graded down in Iowa, and if something comes up, then we've got all the information we need to go ahead with something.
Good. Well, it looks like we've concluded the presentations and questions that go to the presenters. So thank you very much, both Laura and Kelly, for joining us today.
Thank you, Will.
Thank you, Will.
Now we're done the presentations here. We've got a little cleanup work to do here, I guess. We want to obviously thank the sponsors very much. We want to thank the panelists for joining us today to speak to you. Clearly, there are some upcoming events taking place. You can always keep track of them on the Sask Organics website, and obviously by following emails that come out to you. There's an organic livestock producer meeting and a tentative date for an in-person field day at the Swift Current Research Center on the 27th of July. And there are recordings of past webinars. If you haven't gone to those, there's a lot of good webinars been put on in the last 2 years since the Sask Organics has pivoted to be able to find that way of getting information out to us in these times of COVID. And you know, the ones that are 2 years old are really bargain priced. They're free, and just because you're 2 years old does not mean they're irrelevant. I've been listening to some of them that I missed back then more recently, and there's a lot of good information on them. And even the ones last year's, which are only $10, are pretty much a bargain for 2 expensive coffees worth of cost there. So we thank you for attending and supporting Sask Organic events. There will be a survey following this and the webinar, and if you have a moment to tell us what you thought, we do appreciate the feedback. And with that, I guess we're done for the day, and I thanks a lot. I hope you have a good season seeding and you don't get too snowed under in this scenario. So thanks for joining us. Bye-bye.